Not long after getting their frozen dairy treats, the family decided to go check on the line for the milkshaker. It had gone significantly shorter, so it was only a 15-minute wait instead of a 35 wait, and it had been almost an hour ago. By this time, all the riders have given their protective facial masks due to the lawsuit filed once at the park for how unsanitary and dangerous it was for the roller coaster to especially be designed for encouraging getting hit in the face by another person's puke. Even one child was known to have gotten sick due to this, and there was so much debate on how new measures, along with the attendance, but at the end, it was either listen to the state government or have the entire park shut down. The masks did needed to protect their face from flying vomit, but at the same time could be said for the top of the head or clothing. Lincoln wasn't so sure if he liked to be forced of wearing a facial mask, if it meant for just one roller coaster. He didn't get vomit in his mouth like last time. He still enjoyed the thrill of twists and turns and loops on the ride, and had to offer. Unfortunately, both himself and Lynn Sr. would have had to wash off afterwards due to getting their clothes stained from someone's front seats or not, holding down their lunch. Rita didn't falter any better, have gotten some puke in her hair. The 11-year-old took off the mask. "That was awesome! Let's do it again!" "Count me out," Rita grumbled, walking off to the nearest restroom. Some flies had started to gather around her head as Amarich irritably swatted away. Lynn took off his mask. "I go a second time, sport, but this vomit won't wash itself off. Plus we smell like dead fish." Lincoln looked down at his own shirt and grimaced a little when the stench finally reached his nostrils. A shiver went down his spine as he fought the urge to vomit himself. "Yeah, maybe we should have brought some spare clothes." Following Rita, they went into the men's restroom, started scrubbing away at the stains. Lincoln had an easier time than his father, who was growing frustrated that he couldn't seem to get his green sweater cleaned off. Once he was finished, the 11-year-old stepped out of the restroom, drying his arms off, spotting a trash can nearby. He dumped the used paper towels into the waste bin. Looking back, it seemed like his parents weren't finished taking care of their business, so Lincoln found another bench to sit on. Reflecting on the last hour, Lincoln seemed to smile at how his parents managed to reconnect, and even Lynn Sr. promised to take him to his job the next time Take Your Child to Work Day came up. They still needed to find some father-son activity they could both enjoy. However, that Lincoln didn't know is a parent's love for him was about to be tested. Not too far away, walking down the bricked path towards the Loud Boy, two teenage boys were laughing at themselves as they snacked on some cotton candy. They were in a similar build and girth, and with the only differences being that there was one, tanned with black hair, that covered his eyes. The other teen was that of a white with a mullet growing down at the back of his head. To anyone's concern, these were also known as Hank and Hawk, possibly the biggest bullies that would come to hate. Known for their brutish nature, the candy they were eating was likely pillaged with some poor child that was only half their size. "Did you say how I hung that kid by his undies, bro?" Hawk spoke, munching loudly on his earned treat. Hank chuckled. "Yeah, you was crying like a little baby, you was. Should have known better than to flailing his candy right in front of us. You know what make this better, bro? Milk chocolate? Milk chocolate." Hank then looked over at the stern white-haired child sitting on the bench. "Hey bro, isn't that white-haired brat that tricked us into going in that maze last Halloween?" Hawk then looked ahead and noticed Lincoln as well. "Yeah, hey, it is." The obese teen looked unlike any boys of the sisters. "Guess he's alone today. And it's not Halloween, so..." The Hawk gave a low burp. "Blood this time." And the mullet-haired teen grimaced. "Dude, don't remind me. I'm gonna hurl just thinking about it. If you start puking, I'm going to puke. Just shut up about it and let's go have a friendly talk," Hank then said with his fingers. The boys then grinned maliciously as they walked towards Lincoln, who hadn't been noticing them yet. Lincoln stared at the bathroom entrances as he waited for his parents to return, only after taking notice of his surroundings when he heard a set of feet approaching. Looking to his left, Lincoln's eyes became the size of snack plates. Sweat trailed down to the side of his head as fear overtook him. He knew Hank and Hawk had the point that you could say he had history with them. They contributed to Lynn's ankle injury during the football season, and last Halloween, they trashed the whole street and stole everyone's candy. Never mind the fact that they turned themselves and Clyde into human pretzels after they tried getting the stolen candy back. Judging by the looks on their faces, Lincoln figured they must have had a quite angry, getting scared shitless last year. "What's up, Blamo?" Hank then asked one of the boys who stood in front of their prey. Nothing. I was just..." Lincoln began as he stood up. "Going nowhere?" Hank then shoved the boy back in his seat. "Look, if this is all about the Halloween trick..." Lincoln started, holding his hands up in defense. "Don't try talking out of this one, nerd. You know you're so clever with those fancy tricks to your sisters, and don't you?" Hawk asked. "I think a better question is, why is your hair so white?" Hank chuckled, picking at Lincoln's cowlick. "We're not even sure if you are an old man." Why not we just go give it some color?" Hawk stated, looking at his half-eaten treat. It slammed on Lincoln's head, making a mess of pink and white hair. Hank chuckled. "You made a unicorn, bro." Lincoln's cheeks began flushed with red as the teens laughed at him. Gritting his teeth, he took the cone off and threw it to the ground. "Can't you guys just leave me alone?" The tan-skinned boy laughed harder. "Or what? You'll blow up on us?" "Yeah, you might have whooped 5 kids, but what makes you think you could take us on?" Hawk added. Lincoln bit his lip. "You guys saw that video too?" "Well, duh. Pretty sure everyone did. Anyways," Hank grabbed Lincoln by the collar of his shirt, hoisting him up from his seat with a little difficulty. Instinctively, the 11-year-old tried to pry his shirt loose, but to no avail. His feet swung around in the air as he tried to reconnect with the solid ground. "Do you think you could save yourself from this beating?" "With the new arms like that, I doubt it," Hawk taunted, poking one of Lincoln's arms. Lincoln gave an audible gulp in response. It was not even a contest on who would win. Both these obese teens were far stronger than Lincoln would ever hope to be. Even if he helped got into a rage fit, all he could do was stall the inevitable, stomping he would be subjected to. Seeing Hank raising his other fist, Lincoln let out a small whimper and closed his eyes. "So much for a fun day," Lincoln told himself as he put his hands in front of his face to shield himself from the inevitable blow. However, it never came. Right as Hank was about to smash his meaty fist into Lincoln's face, an older feminine grabbed his wrist, twisting it around as he stared at the face of an enraged mother. "Put my son down!" Rita spoke venomously, her tone rising with each word. Her hair was still as wet as it appeared to be flushed out of the bathroom. Hank didn't respond due to the sudden intervention, prompting Rita to take his arm and twist it behind his back. The teen cried in pain. Releasing the grip on the 11-year-old, Lincoln fell back into the bench with a heap. Hank was still stunned as he watched Hank getting subdued, a sense of dread creeping up on him. They expected Lincoln might have been around with his sisters, not his parents. There was one specific rule that every bully knew. When parents get involved, your ass is grass. Not wanting to get caught, the mullet-haired teen was about to sneak away when someone firmly gripped on his shoulder. "And where do you think you're going?" Lynn Sr. asked, giving a heated glare at the teen. His sweater had a few bits of stains on it. By now, Rita had Hank on his knees, the teen tapping on the ground for mercy. The Marsh finally released him before attending to their son. "You okay, honey?" Rita asked softly, picking a piece of cotton candy out of Lincoln's hair. The boy nodded. "Yeah, I'm okay." With Rita busy, Lynn Sr. dealt with the 2 bullies. Hank, Ben, and Hawk backed up until he was next to Hank, who was massaging his sore limbs. Glancing back at his son, Lynn fixated his glare at the 2 boys. His hands were clenched into hard fists and shook as if he was ready to beat some sense into them. Hank and Hawk shrank underneath him like dogs who realized they had angered their master. "If I ever see you 2 near my son again, so help me, I will tie you to chairs and feed you to the worst dish you've ever tasted. Do I make myself clear?" The bullies then nodded and looked back at the father, while Hank panted and wheezed to carry his bad arm. Lynn watched until they were no longer in sight, before turning back to his family. By then, Rita had been finished picking all the cotton candy out of Lincoln's hair, but the pink stains remained and Rita sucked in the air for her teeth. Darn it, looks like you'll have to wash your hair when you get home. You okay, Lincoln? The 11-year-old nodded. Thanks, guys. Sorry about that. Lincoln, you shouldn't be apologizing for that. We're the ones who left you out here by yourself, Lynn corrected him. Lincoln looked at the ground, his hands clasped together. No doubt that encounter with the bullies damaged his confidence. The father looked around the attractions, not wanting this day to end on a sour note. Hey, let's say we go for a ride on the spinning teacups again, Lynn asked, messing with his son's hair. Lincoln smiled a little, getting up from his seat. He was just about to start walking when Lynn Sr. suddenly scooped him up and sat him on his shoulders. Lincoln couldn't help but laugh at this. It has been a long time since he was given a piggyback ride, usually one doing so for his younger sisters. Guess he wasn't too old for his dad to give him one. As the Louds went towards where the rotation-based rides were located, one thing's certain that in Lincoln's mind, he still had the love and affection for his parents, and they sure as hell weren't about to let that slip through their grasp ever again.